Hey listeners, Dan Harris here, host of the 10% Happier podcast. Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible Originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Harris or text Harris to 500-500.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again, football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
Hey, Tom. Oh, hi, Tom. How are you? Excellent. It's like that scene in Spies Like Us. You ever seen the movie Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd? Doctor.
Oh, yes, that's famous. Yes,
Tom. So,
I didn't know where that came from because I was walking. I came around long ago, so I was walking around going, Doctor.
They said,
where
Doctor. That's actually pretty funny. The list good. I was speaking with my neighbor, Greg Mulligan, who actually wrote and directed a movie.
He's the Irish lad, right? He's Irish.
Not really, definitely. Oh, but he said he has a boat, and he said for whatever reason, every time he gets on his boat, it automatically defaults to our podcast. So the whole family's hearing the Oil Lung song by Dead Eye Doll. But he's a big fan. But he said he's like, I can't get anything off. I can't get it off. So it's just on his boat.
Did we do that?
I had no. I was like, I said I have no idea, but keep doing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Especially when you get it, out of the area. Did you? And you're Canadian, obviously, and everything is lake and cabin country. Did you guys have a boat when you were growing up?
Yes, we did actually. Yeah, we had an old wooden boat. I don't know how we didn't get to use it very much because on the farm we couldn't get away to.
Wait. You had a boat, but not a shower.
Good point.
Wow.
That's true too. I never thought of that. What my parents thinking? But it's like one of those old wooden boats, like maybe like 12 feet long. It wasn't much of a boat,
like a canoe, basically.
You go the boat around. Yeah, I don't want to paint the picture that had air conditioning and it wasn't a yacht exactly. So yeah, but we never really got to use it that much. So my dad really loved water skiing.
Really?
Water skiing, yeah.
Were you a big fishing guy or no?
No, I don't know. I hated fishing.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess you get outside, the weather's nice the whole bit. Man, you're waiting for a fish to bite on.
Yeah, you got one of my hockey buddies, Brian Noble, became a big fisherman guy. He's talking about like the honey hole and finding all the right.
Is that Brian Noble?
Brian Noble.
Brian Noble. Is he Irish lad?
No, just a regular American guy. Defenseman, really good defenseman. But he loves fishing, and some people get like really crazy about it. Yeah, people get crazy about a couple things: guns and fishing,
and golf too.
And golf. I know you can't play. My dad, who is a great golfer, and he plays 3 times a week in South Carolina. Right. As I said before, he can't handle technology. He just does not like. He hates it. So he hates any app on the phone. Though he likes Facebook, though, which is weird.
Oh,
but yeah, he's
What's your father's first name?
It's also Tom. We'll get him on. We'll get him on. I'll get my son, and we'll get someone else. We'll have a lot of.
Your son goes by Thomas.
He does.
Okay.
Intentionally.
Okay.
They call him the baseball. He plays a lot of baseball, and they call him.
You've got this creativity in you, but you've all got the same names.
I know. We talked about this though. I know it's like a family thing, but his middle name is Skywalker, so that's a plus.
That's
yes. And one of my daughter's middle names is Glosely. It's an Icelandic name. So we gave them cool names because we knew they were stuck with boring last names. Yeah. But my son plays baseball. He's great. I want to tell you this because we talk about lessons all the time. And He's on a travel team in our town. I get to go to these games. I hang out with great dads. Captain John Perotti, who I spend most of my time with. And he's a listener. He is Italian.
There you go.
He's a police captain, listener of the show. So him and I sit together at the baseball games, and we just, shoot the shit. But my son I was practicing with because he wants to get better. So we took a bucket, threw him like 30 balls. He missed all of them. This is just a day ago. The season ended. Great pitching. So the season ended, and he practiced, and he missed it. He was upset. And he's like, I can't do it. I can't hit. He wanted to quit. And I said, I don't mind if you can't do something. If you fail 100 times, that's fine, as long as you don't give up. And he got back in. He stayed. By the end of the day, all the balls were in the outfield, and he felt great about himself, way better than he would have. So I think that's kind of like what I've learned with doing this podcast with you. It's about show up, keep working hard.
That's excellent parenting there, brother. Really good.
Well, thank you.
Because a lot of times parents want to make the kids feel better. That snowplow parent that Jim Kite talked about. But yeah, he would have learned to just quit at that point, right? Now he learned, okay, keep on going. You'll eventually get it done right. And now, so I know you know this, but it's such a great lesson for life. Like, it's not just baseball.
Just as long as you work hard and show off, that's more important than the results. Because I saw a psychiatrist saying, praise the effort, not so much the result, not the talent, whatever it is. So we do.
Great video at your school. A guy was out in the driveway of his house, and he's trying to teach his son how to box. And the guy's a real motivational guy. And the boy started crying, similar that he was upset that he couldn't do it right, and the father stopped. And he was really good with him. Like, he was kind of stern, but very supportive and everything. So no, you can do this. I know you can do. You've done it before. Just do it again. And then the kid started doing it right. And the change in him, like crying to now the smile on his face, and how good he felt about himself. It was a great video. I wish I had saved it.
You see that switch flip, and the same thing about confidence in the eyes, and that's such an important lesson. These kids the kid's probably not going to be a pro boxer. My son's probably not going to be a pro baseball player, but they'll learn that they can overcome something. And that's really important. So
that's the big thing with life. I mean, it's tough now for kids, right? Well, there's social media and everything. They don't think they're as good as everybody else. Right. They see all that stuff, but they realize, okay, it's not about you being as good as anybody else. It's about you getting better every day. And you do that, but never quit it. Just keep going.
And that's you, and plow through, like you always at least talked about several times on this show. Yeah, but I want to say today we're going to have another one of those special episodes. It's not a NHL hockey player. We're going to have a really cool episode of a New York City influencer who was a friend of mine who's doing some really cool stuff. But were you a big Subway guy when you were in the city?
No, never. I never touched Subway at all when we played. When I would drive in, we drive in for the game. We go to a restaurant someplace driving, and then I take the Subway more now. Right. It's much more convenient and everything. But
were you you're a big cab guy then, or?
When we drive, when we came in, we was driving all the time. We never take cabs.
No,
Since then, I much more enjoy taking a train into Grand Central, Metro North, and then take a subway or whatever. Or I do try if I can. I like the fitness now too. Even if I'm walking to the garden, it's like a 20 or 25-minute walk. So I try to walk as much as I can when I go. And it's nice. Sometimes during the winter or bad weather, it's good to jump on the subway.
When you drove in, you were a player when you drove in, right?
Yeah. So you had the parking right
across the street.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was there a lot, and we would wait for you guys to try to get autographs. Did you sign for kids, or did you drive right by?
Well, I probably didn't sign for you.
No, you probably did.
Yeah. No, we were pretty. There was, again, we've talked about this before. Kind of the hockey code is, you're supposed to really treat people the right way, especially the kids. I'll never forget when I was a kid, my father how he did it. He got us in the Maple Leaf Gardens in Chicago, was playing that night. And it was a pregame skate, and Bobby Hull, we got to meet him, and he stood there for about 10 minutes.
You said this several times, but this is pretty fascinating because it's just, you just don't get, you don't have a farmer get a Bobby Hull to talk to his son. Like, what did your dad do behind the scene there?
That's a great question. I can't remember how he made it happen. Because, I remember thinking, we're little farm people. What are we doing here? Like, there's nobody else in Maple Leaf Gardens. Now, Maple Leaf Gardens is like this iconic, it's like a church or something, So you're in there, and nobody else is there. And then you're talking to Bobby Hull. And I think I had one of those mini sticks, and he signed it for me too. And that is, I know, I guess it's left such an impression on me. And I've learned that lesson because I remember how I felt talking to Bobby Hull. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, when I talk to these other kids now, I really want to make it mean something. They're saying, I talked.
Where my dad was 12, my grandfather passed away. He had a heart attack, died suddenly. So they were stuck. My grandmother was stuck with 8 kids. From like 2 to like 17. So my dad was kind of wayward. He was lost. And one of the people living in their building in the Bronx was an usher at Yankee Stadium. So he somehow spoke to someone, got my father in. And my father he would work batting practice for the Yankees. He would shag flies, chase down balls, and he would hang out with like Mickey Mantle, Bobby Richardson, Marv Thornberry, who he said was a total dick. But he said, one time, Marvelous Marv Thornberry. Remember that guy? He was in the Bud Light commercials with Philly. Yeah. So he gave my father dip when he was like 12, chewing tobacco. I think he was got cyst. And my father tells me, he's like, Mickey Mantle's like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing to the kids? So anyway, they were really kind to my father. It went a long way. So flash forward, my dad's favorite player was Bobby Richardson. He was a second baseman. He was a World Series MVP. So he's at his book signing at the bookstore by me in New Jersey, Bookends in Ridgewood, which is a big place to sign books. I think Kenny Albert mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I go, I'm like, I'm going to get this great gift from my dad. I'm going to get this book signed by Bobby Richardson, his idol, and he's a kid. So I get it. I sit on it from like July to Christmas. I go down to South Carolina, give it to him for Christmas. He's like, oh, he goes, Bob, that's so cool. He goes, I had lunch with him last week. I was like, how'd that happen? Anyway, so through connections, he met him, but he remembered, my father said when they got together, he remembered him as a kid. It was just great. So again, that's kindness that, you give back and you put out into the world. You do that a lot. That's a pretty important thing, especially a position that you have.
I had a kid that I coached. He was going to the Army, and he was over in California. Like, was the recruiting officer, like he used my name on his application. And the recruiting officer looked at it. He goes, Tom Laidlaw. He said, he talked to me when I played with the Kings, and it made such a big difference to me. I think it was because kids were yelling for my stick, and they said, give me. I said, kids, listen, here's the last, if you want something, say, please, guy, please have the stick. And the kid said this to yeah, it's pretty cool. When he said that, and Max, this guy's name, Max Como, great young kid.
Max Como?
Max Como was the player.
Hey, Max Como.
Max Como. So he said, yep, that's Coach Laidlaw. That's how we do it.
That's awesome. That's you're planting those seeds just by a little bit of kindness that goes such a long way.
So two things, right? I remember what it was for me, and then I also see the difference in the kids' eyes. Real quick, Max, Como stick though.
Let's hear it.
So I coached Max at the same age as my oldest son, Shane. And Max was always one of the bigger kids. Great team player. Loved him. But he wasn't under control. He's always trying to defend his teammates and everything. So there's this rule that if you got 5 penalties in a game, I think he missed them
foul out, right?
Right, yeah. And then I think next game. So it made me escalating things.
Auto sussy.
Yeah, so I learned with Max that if he got to like 3 penalties or 4 penalties, I'd have to sit him on the bench.
He's in foul trouble.
Right, yeah, exactly. And he'd know. So this one game, I think he got the 4 penalties. He was still hot at the referee. So he took his glove off his hand, put it on the end of his stick, formed the middle finger on the glove like he was giving the bear, and he holds it in front of the referee while he's walking and skating by. It was, I got to tell you, it was the funniest thing.
Yes.
Oh, the referee looked up at me, and the two of us started dying laughing because he even thought it was.
So he's like, all right, that's a good one. I'll let it go.
No, he says, Tom, I got to throw him out. I said, no, I don't blame you a bit, but I'm still laughing. This is hilarious. And Max is that kind of kid. You'd love him. Like, and he's married now. I think he's got 2 children, living out in Colorado, served in the Army. Great kid, but he just had that. I looked at it. Some people were like, he's a bad kid. And I like that. No, he's a great kid. He's got a huge heart. He loves his teammates. But man,
it's very creative, apparently.
Oh gosh, that was when the referee, the reaction from him looking at me, the whole seat and everything. I can see it today, and I was just dying laughing. I couldn't help it. I went over to the dad, and I are pretty good friends. I think he felt bad. Sorry, I said, "You kidding me? That was one of the highlights."
There's all this rock and roll, man. That's awesome.
Funny stuff.
So we're taking all the way back now. So you didn't take the subway much, but our next guest today is an influencer in New York who's done some incredible things in the subway. He's got his finger on the pulse of New York City for his social media empire of what is New York. Subway Creatures is the big one. What New York eats and what New York wears. He's basically dialed in everywhere, and it's going to be a great. Because he's a hockey adjacent guy. Because I play with him, but he's got this great empire in New York on social media. So it's going to be Rick McGuire. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I love meeting guys like that are so creative to build something. I look at that. Why didn't I think of that? Right. So it'd be great to listen to him and how he did all the things.
And I guarantee after this episode, you're going to like Rick even more because he's pretty awesome.
Good.
Here we go.
Looking forward to it. El Stapo.
Oh, boy. Hey, Tom, we got a very special one today for a lot of reasons. First off, we have an influencer, our first influencer on. We got a guy who built a brand and a business out of nothing. He's a handsome devil from New Jersey. Good friend of mine and an excellent hockey player with a booming slap shot. We got Rick McGuire, owner of Subway Creatures, What is New York, What New York Eats, and there's one more, right, Rick? What's the other one?
What New York wears.
What New York wears. So he's got an empire, an influencer empire in New York City, and he's the man.
This is pretty cool having you on. Seriously, we have hockey players and owners and all this kind of stuff. The first time we had somebody like you on, it really amazed me too. And I said this to Tom before the show. That I really envy having that creative mind that you've got. Tom's got a little bit of one, but not much.
There he goes again. Bullying.
It's small, but it's creative. It's great to meet you, Rick.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
So I want to get into both, like your life before you started all this and how you got into this. So what were you doing for work before you got into those?
Yeah, I was in college. I was a media major, so I was working in television as a television producer. Back in 2008 is when I started at VH1. Actually, that's where me and Tommy had a little overlap there. And, it really tied into what I have going on now, just because of the content and being able to see things before they exist. And, the television thing, I really credit a lot to kind of where I am at this point.
Right. So the Subway, what's the Subway one called?
Subway Creatures. Come on, man. You did your homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you know when you started that, say, okay, I'm going to acquire all these Subway videos and now make this into a living for myself?
No, not at all. To be honest with you, I started it just because, I was doing the daily commute every day. And it was one of those things. I wanted to send my friends and family all the crazy, funny, bizarre stuff I was seeing. But then I felt like I was starting to annoy them by texting them so much. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just create a website, because this was all before Instagram. Created a website. And I was like, listen, if you guys want to see it, I'm just going to put this stuff up daily and you can check it out there. And then Instagram came along. I moved everything over there. This was just a hobby on the side. Like I said, I was working as a television producer at the time. And never did I ever imagine it was going to kind of, take off the way it did. And luckily it did. I was able to quit my job. And that kind of brings us to where I am now.
Now, so with the Subway one, that really intrigues me. So did you promote somehow the people to come to your page, or it just happened organically?
So at the time, it still kind of is. It's a one of a kind. There isn't really another page that documents, or a social media account that documents all the crazy stuff that's happening in the Subway. So it was, when people do see this type of content and incidences in the Subway, they know to come to me. But I know you're asking, how did they know to come to me in the first place? Right, yeah. And it honestly, it's one of those wild stories of how viral stuff happens. People started sending it to their friends and family. I was just sending it to my friends and family in the beginning. What they started doing is either reposting or sending it to their friends and family. And it just exponentially started to grow. And then next thing you know, I have New York media like New York Post and CBS, and they're all knocking on my door saying, "Hey, we want to document you. We love the account. We want to hear the story behind the scenes." And all of a sudden, it took that snowball effect and really started taking off.
Was there a moment, Rick, that you caught the wave that you can pinpoint? Like, this video took me from...
Yeah, the tipping point. There was a tipping point, and it's actually funny that you asked that, because not too many people ask me that question, but it was the New York Post who came to me, and as you can imagine, they had a different agenda. How do you feel, Mayor de Blasio is doing with Subway? I was like, listen, I want to keep politics out of this, but what they wound up doing was a story on me, and there was a picture that I had posted of a guy pissing right off the platform onto the tracks, and they had a field day with that one. And what they did was they said originally, we're just going to put this as a story digitally online. And it got so much traction online that the next day they reached out and go, listen, it did so well. We're actually going to do a full page spread on page 2 in the actual paper. So I wound up, the next morning, I think this was maybe 2015, 2016. I went out, I got a copy of the paper. I'm like, oh, you're not going to believe this. And my girlfriend at the time wound up getting it framed for me. And I still to this day have it framed because of that tipping point. It means so much. That article meant so much to everything that I have going on. And that still hangs in my room at home. And that was definitely the tipping point, because after that, all of a sudden it was like radio shows, podcasts, other news shows. And it really decided to just snowball into this crazy thing.
Yeah, everyone in this business, Rick, knows. We look at our counts, we look at our numbers, we always see. But what was that day like when you went from whatever it was, 30,000 to 3 million? Were you like, holy cow, I can't believe this is finally happening?
Yeah, well, the weird part is, it's one of those things where, to me, and sometimes this still is a thing where it's just numbers. It's not until you actually go out and you start hearing stories from people. Like, here's a quick one. So my brother went on his honeymoon. Again, this was back in maybe 2016, 2017, maybe around there. And he went on his honeymoon to Aruba, and he was at a pool. They wound up meeting a couple next to the pool. And while they were talking, the woman leans over and goes, "Oh my gosh, you guys have to look at this account. It's hilarious. Me and my husband follow it." And she showed it to my brother, and it was my account. And he goes, "You guys are messing with me. I know somehow you guys found out about this." And they go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "That's my brother's account. He runs that." And she goes, "No." And then he like showed pictures and
That's cool.
And that is when it puts things in perspective for me. You know, you look at the account, to me, it's just numbers. But when I hear stories like that, it really just kind of wraps it all together.
So when you see things in the news, like the guy paid $14,000 to get a dog suit that he walks around, did you see that? Oh, now do you look at that stuff? Yeah. Do you look at that and say, I need to do a video about that, or is it there's so much on?
You know, it's not. I think that guy might have been in like China or something, right? Wasn't he like in an Asian country? So like it didn't really, it didn't hit home for me because it's not necessarily New York based. But yes, as you can imagine, I have tons of people sending me that stuff just because of how wacky it is. And I get stuff like that on a daily basis. Sure. So it's kind of, you have to filter out like, where did this happen and does it apply to my accounts? But listen, you can't ignore something like that regardless. I mean, that story's wild.
I know. And I looked at the picture first. It looks like a real dog too.
Well, are you gonna be a furry now, Tom?
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, and I think I saw it in the New York Post where this guy's he paid $14,000 for a suit. They make it seem like at first that he's actually transformed into a dog, right? They're being sarcastic, but he bought this suit, but he walks around on his all fours, and it's a cute dog. It's like you really believe that it's an actual dog, right?
Lassie, right? It looks like Lassie.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So oh, it's funny. Well, I don't think here too. We won't dwell on my there's a dog, and but I live in a condominium complex up here in Greenwich, Connecticut, and dogs are allowed. So we have this constant thing going on about the dogs barking all the time. Like there's something going on there and trying to attack these dogs all around me, and they're barking all the time. So now I'm the public enemy number one for dog owners.
You should get the suit and be like a secret furry. You know?
That's a great idea.
Yes. You can tell dates.
So, and it's supposed to be on a leash here too. The other day, he had his dog walk around with no leash. I'll walk around with no leash on.
There you go.
And I'll start barking.
Yeah, 6'2" collie. That'll be great. That'll over really well.
You strike me as a guy with a lot of pit bulls.
You know what? I don't. It's funny you say that. People have said kind of that stuff before, but no, I've always, growing up on the farm, we always had mutt dogs. My second wife, ex-wife, she had a little Yorkie, so the Yorkie became mine. So I drive around with my big black pickup truck, and the Yorkie be having his head stick.
Big tough guy. Big tough guy from Canada with that big dome.
He was a killer at dog.
So Rick, Rick, you went from Clifton, New Jersey to hanging out with Ed Sheeran in the subways, which is a pretty cool story in kind of short time. What's your favorite couple of videos that you've put out? Is Pizza Rat one of them?
I mean, Pizza Rat was one of the first videos that, again, kind of put me on the map a little bit. Just because I had nothing to do with that video, but I was one of the first larger accounts to pick it up and feature it. And that was one of the ones that like the news gave me a lot of credit for. And I don't necessarily deserve it, but I was one of the first to feature it. Listen, I don't know if people know the behind the scenes about Pizza Rat, but that was a trained rat and it was a big stunt. That rat,
look at that.
To do that. It was someone in New York who does a lot of these viral stunts, and it worked. It worked. But
there you go.
Yeah, that was one of the best ones. Definitely that Sheeran one was cool, but I think one of my favorite people to work with in the subway was Hosier. We did a pop-up show with him in the subway. I think it was maybe back in 2018 or 2019. That dude is super talented. And fortunately enough, I was able to hang out with him again later, fairly recently, but he's such a nice guy. And you want to talk about talent, man. This guy just sang a cappella, and he was better than listening to his songs on like Spotify. Yeah. Like it was so surreal being in front of him while he's singing in the subway. And that was another video that got a lot of traction as well. It was all over the place when we did that. But, fortunately, that's one of the things that, I've been able to do with this account is work with a lot of musicians who, when they're coming out with like a new song or a new album, whatever the case may be, they hit me up and they're like, hey, let's go down to the subway. We're going to perform live. And sometimes you get some of these really big names to do it. And, it's really cool that, I have those opportunities.
Yeah, your follower. Well, Tom was talking about your follower list is insane. It's like all Hollywood and New York.
A lot of people I know that follow me are following you as well. You know what's that? So are you able to look at a video now and say this one's going to be a good one?
You would think that I do have a pretty good eye for stuff, but to this day, there's some things that I'll post and I'll be like, wow, that flopped. I'm learning every day. However, what's happened is because of the content that I see on a daily basis, you become really desensitized. So almost contrary to it, there's a lot of stuff that I pass up on that I think, what is this? Is nothing. And then maybe there's some case or instance where I post it, almost like a year down the road, and the thing goes super viral, and I'm like, oh my God, imagine if I would have posted this a year ago and I actually got it. It's because I'm super desensitized to the content that I'm seeing. So I almost have to put my mindset in like, what would a viewer think, not me? And so I've started to really learn about that curve and what that content looks like.
Rick's very good at that too. He's a producer, obviously. He's got a great eye for it, because he and I went to a Ranger playoff game last year, and Rick's a big Devil fan, just so you know.
Oh my God.
Huge Devil.
They're a good team. They're a good team now, though. They're a good team.
Well, we went to Ranger Penguin playoff game, and we shot a video for what is New York?
Yeah.
I think and Rick's like, he told me exactly, he's like, this will do this number. And it was basically almost spot on. So I knew exactly what it would do, which was pretty cool.
See, I haven't got that eye at all. Probably like 5 years ago, somebody posted a picture of an egg. And it had like 1 million followers or something. Like, it was the world's perfect egg, they said. But it was just weird.
Yeah.
Why would someone decide they want to look at this picture of this egg?
Well, you look at
it
it,
was
right?
Purely just to see how many followers it could get. And I think they actually got pretty close to Kim Kardashian, who at the time was like had the biggest following. But that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to get
saw that. Okay.
I know one of the people who were running that whole thing. And it was, that's exactly what they were trying to do. There was no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
Just let's get this egg to have as many following. That sums up America right there.
Yeah.
Let's all follow a friggin' egg and get it to have more followers than Kim Kardashian.
Well, that is the thing. Like, we now have become, everybody just follows everybody else. So like when the pandemic started, everybody had to get toilet paper. Like, why did we want to get toilet paper? Like somebody else decided we're getting toilet paper. We're sheep. Yeah.
Rick, do you get a lot of offers to be on camera, be in front of the camera?
I do.
Because, I mean, he's a handsome guy. Look at him, Tom.
Man, Tommy, it's weird. You can't emphasize that enough, can you?
I know.
We
need to talk about
It's funny because we played hockey together, and that used to be, everyone used to just rip on Rick because he's a good looking dude, but he would be like handsome Rick. Everyone called him handsome Rick.
He's leaving out the part that one of the guys on our team really saw that it was getting to me, so he just decided to go 100% in on it, and it kind of caught fire, and everyone decided to jump on the bandwagon. But
shout out Chris Carisi.
I honestly try to stay off camera because, I want the accounts to kind of speak for themselves. I feel like there are people that, do better on camera than me, but every once in a while, you do get those DMs of people saying, hey, you should do more stuff on camera. And, I like to take the producer role more than the hosting role, to be honest.
Right. Do you need our help to promote your sites? But so there's the Subway, there's the What's in New York is the other one?
Yeah, there's Subway Creatures. There's What is New York, which is basically everything that happens outside of the subway in New York. And then you have What New York Eats, which is basically focusing on the food industry in New York.
Oh.
And then we have What New York Wears, which is celebrating the fact that people in New York can wear whatever they want, whenever they want. And, you feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah.
So, we try to hit all the categories. The only one we're missing is sports. And me and Tommy have been working for years now on trying to figure some angle of that out. It's just a very oversaturated industry, and it's very hard to kind of gain the access that we want to it. So stay tuned on that.
We'll get there.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
So what was the first one you started? The Subway?
The Subway one was started back in 2011. And that one was the OG, that was the one that kind of took off. And then, because it took off, I'm not going to lie, it is a little easy to move your audience to the other accounts because you're leveraging that audience that you have for the Subway one. But, those accounts are still good. There's still a lot of solid content on them. So they speak for themselves as well.
So it's all on Instagram too, correct?
I try to cover every platform.
Okay.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, I try to cover them all. Because there are different demographics on each platform. You got the older folks on Facebook, but then you have the younger crowd in TikTok, and you want the younger crowd to grow into your brand. So you definitely, even though they might not be able to relate and it might not resonate as much with them because they're younger and they don't live in New York, maybe, there's still, you want them to grow into the account. And, when they do get to that age or they do move to New York, you want them to be like, oh, I definitely remember hearing about that back in my TikTok days.
Sure. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Rick, do you get a lot of weird proposals at the DMs? Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's weird if this Tom went on Survivor, as you know, even though he played in the NHL for 11 years. He was on Survivor, and he got some weird
man.
DMs from that.
Wait. Can you tell me maybe one or two of those, and maybe it'll spawn something that in my memory? Because I got to hear this regardless.
Yeah.
So you walk around in your underwear out there, and so you can see pretty much everything. And I became the target for a lot of gay men,
Young gay men.
So they were contacting me. Sometimes they'd pretend that they were young women. Then later on, they said, well, really, I'm an 18-year-old boy, and I want to do certain things with you. Yeah. So those were, because I'm no farm boy from Canada, right? I'm getting hit on. Like, they started writing messages saying, call me Poppy and Daddy and stuff. And I'm saying to my sons, like, why do they call me Poppy and Daddy? My sons, because they think gay or they want you.
Because you're on national TV in your underwear. That's about it.
Yeah. My sons.
How many of those did you entertain?
None yet.
He still didn't wait for the dog suit.
Not yet.
Yeah. I'm getting a reputation, because the Rangers invite me to a lot of stuff. So I go do all the crazy stuff now. So they invite me to the gay pride parade and all this. So
yeah, listen, I lived in Hell's Kitchen for a long time, maybe 5 or 6 years, and put my accounts aside. I was always getting approached. I had one instance where there was a guy, and again, I'm in Hell's Kitchen, and it was a straight bar, but there's definitely gay guys there. Yeah. And one came over to me and he goes, hey, you look like you could model. I run a modeling agency. And he goes, I would love to make an introduction to everyone, and we would love to get you on camera. And I had a couple drinks in me. I got all jacked up. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's do this. And after he left, the bartender goes, that guy is in here every night telling the same thing to every guy he comes across. He goes, don't go. That's right. What he's going to say. Don't go. And I was like, oh, damn it. Threw that card out. I was like, I really need to.
Yeah. He didn't ask you to smell a napkin or anything, did he? Take a whiff of this napkin.
When I was in college, my buddies and I went for spring break down in Fort Lauderdale. And we didn't have any money, so we're staying in a tent down there. So we'd been to the bar all night. I'm hitchhiking to go back to the tent. The guy picks me up, and this really nice guy. We're chatting away. He says, do you want to come back to my place? It'll just be you, me, and the video camera. And I'm this naive farm boy, from Canada. I go, what? Like, okay, what's he going to do with the video camera? And I finally dawned on me after a few minutes. I said, you let me out of this car.
Let's find that tape. Where is it? Oh. So, Rick, what now? We talk about
that could have been a Dahmer situation, too. I mean, there you go. Yeah.
You talked about
that could have escalated really far. But no, there have actually been on a lighter side, there have been really cool experiences where, for instance, I had the New York Rangers reach out to me during their playoff run where I brought Tommy. Me and Tommy went to the game. I know he's a huge Rangers fan, so he was the first person that came to mind. And we went, for free. We got to see, a playoff Ranger game. There's opportunities with a lot of the New York teams. The Brooklyn Nets invited me to sit courtside.
So they just wanted you there because of your staff?
I mean, listen, there's always a catch. You're always waiting for all right, now what do you want out of this? And of course, they always want, like, for instance, like Tommy had said, it's like, hey, we want to give you playoff tickets. And you're sitting there and you're like, great, I'm a huge hockey fan. Let's go. And then they go, great. So we're going to give you this section, and we would love for a video to show up on What is New York about the Rangers. It's like one of those situations. Same thing with Brooklyn Nets. But you know what? That's fine. It's more about having these opportunities and having the access. Plus, what you're also doing is networking, and you're establishing these relationships with the front office of these organizations. And it's a long play for me. So, the next time the Rangers go into the playoffs, probably won't be a while, but somewhere down the road,
That was a shot, by the way.
Yeah, I had to throw that dig in there, man.
Yeah, you did
down the road, maybe I'll get invited. Who knows?
I was just going to give you a compliment too, telling you I was smart. I thought you were, but that's gone now.
No,
we're pulling that back.
But Rick and his brand is becoming, and they're real influencers in New York. They're known by everyone, and you have these great relationships, and you just keep building them, and they keep snowballing, like you said. I asked Rick this before, but he, with what New York eats, he gets free meals all the time, which is great. And great restaurants.
Yeah, I mean that's just one of the perks to all of that. But the whole point of that page was kind of to shine a light on the food industry, because if you guys remember, that industry got decimated during COVID. And I had so many friends and family that, had places, that just were trying to stay afloat. So that was the whole point, was kind of feature the mom and pop places. But again, like Tommy said, you do get these nice opportunities to dine at some of these places, which is really cool.
So when you go, do you make a reservation? And so obviously they're asking your name.
You saw Goodfellas, right?
He's every
that scene in Casablanca when when they pull a table up and they just put it down right in front.
At the Copa, the Copa.
The Copa. That's it. Coming to say Casablanca, the Copa. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those scenarios, So it's like, it's really cool, especially when you're bringing a female friend. You're like, hey, you want to go to this place? There's usually you need a reservation like 2 months in advance, but I know this guy.
Let's get into that a little bit. That's going to help your dating life too, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't, we don't need to dive into that too much because,
we go ahead.
I don't know who's listening to this. But
Tom needs tips, though. He definitely needs some help.
Oh, no, I don't. No, it's not a matter you need help meeting.
No, you sound like you do well for yourself anyway.
Well, here's the issue, though. I am the magnet, though. I meet every woman that has like serious daddy issues, any issues whatsoever, right? Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, you're a magnet for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not like it's not necessarily a good thing that I meet lots of women. It's, man.
Well, okay, because for some reason I'm attracted to the crazies,
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. I mean, everyone's like, why do you get yourself into these scenarios? And I'm like, I don't know. We got to keep it interesting, I guess. I don't really know.
Okay, I'm glad we're on this subject. Let's delve in this here, okay? So I don't know how you are. When I'm in the middle of it, though, it doesn't seem so crazy. It's when I step back, like things blow up, and I step back later on and go,
oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And you look back and you're like, what was I doing?
Yeah. You like that too?
Oh, yeah. I've got so many examples of that. I mean, me and you need to like have an honest like dinner sit down and we compare stories all day.
Man. So Tom and I made sure 6 months ago,
That's like a year ago or something. Yeah.
So we do this show. So we'll do one with you and then we'll have a little break and then we'll do another show, have somebody else on. So we sit there and talk about life and everything. He's a stable married man, family and the whole bit. So I start telling some of my stories. And again, like I'm saying now, I didn't realize how nutty they were until I see the look on his face when I'm telling the stories.
What is wrong with you, man?
Well, and Rick, what does that say about us, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, so I used to think it was the girls' fault. That's a great point. So I used to think it was the women's fault. And then Tom actually said to me at one point, he says, "What is the common denominator with all these situations?"
Yeah,
it's me. It's you and I.
There you go, brothers.
Yeah.
Except I think Rick's got a harder shot than you do, though, Tom.
Oh, that's like a rip. That doesn't say too much. So.
Oh wait, yeah. There is listen, I'm not going to toot my own horn because I'm not a big offensive guy. I stay at home defenseman. But listen, I'll shoot from anywhere. And
he does.
There's been a couple examples over at what was it, Tommy? Iska, where
Jersey.
I've never seen it before. I shot it. It went through the boards. It went straight through the boards.
Yeah, Ricky can rip it. He can rip the puck.
Wow.
They asked me to sign the piece, and they kept it. I was like, all right.
This is roller hockey too.
This is roller.
All right, let's be real. It's roller hockey. Yeah,
it's still hockey. It's still good hockey. Shout out to Dennis Jelsic at Iska.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, the highlights because roller hockey's taking off, man. You got Per Maroon out here. You got a lot of these
Connor Bedard
chellers in the off season playing roller hockey. It's even Connor Bedard, he's got a highlight reel in roller hockey.
Is that the league the Devils are into? Are they in the roller hockey?
Oh, there we go.
You know what? I deserve that.
No, actually, I should be careful though because they are a good hockey team. Oh man, they're good.
Yeah, they're better than the Rangers right now.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. There's a couple of those guys I think live in the city. I'm still waiting to run into some of them.
Some of the Devils?
Oh, Tommy, who are you working with again?
Oh, PK Subban. He's downtown.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's in like Tribeca, maybe.
Yeah, he's in Tribeca.
But yeah,
if you got your video camera and you saw somebody like that, a hockey player, would you go up and interview him?
To be honest, no. There's this really cool aspect about celebrities in New York where as long as you're not in Times Square, people let you mind your own business. And I've talked to a bunch of them, and I've always asked them that question, what's it? Obviously, hockey players really don't get recognized. It's not the most popular sport. It's very hard to recognize. I think probably Lundqvist, one of the players I would say you could recognize from anywhere.
Yep.
He's Mr. GQ. He's Mr. New York too. But very rarely. Probably PK too.
PK, he stands out.
If you look at these guys, it's like the really fashionable guys, the loud ones. But hockey players don't get recognized. But celebrities in general, the one thing that they always say is the cool part about living in New York or being in New York is they don't get harassed, they don't get approached a lot. I've seen tons of celebrities on the subway in person. No one says a word to them. No one bothers them.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool part, and I try to keep my distance as well. However, I do have a very funny story. So I don't get starstruck easily. I was on the subway, and I saw Matt Stone. Now, Matt Stone, Trey Parker are the two creators of South Park and Book of Mormon and a countless number of movies. To me, they're geniuses, and from my world of television, those are people that I get starstruck by. So I see this dude, I know it's Matt Stone. Obviously, no one else in the train knows. But I get my camera ready, and I do exactly what you were saying. Like, I went up to him, I'm like, hey, Matt. And he, looks up, and he, shoots back. And he's like, you could tell I startled him. And I'm like, hey, man, I would really love a selfie real quick. And I go to point the thing up, and he goes, no. And he, knocks my hand down. And I was not expecting that reaction at all. And I just look at him, and I'm like, oh. And I don't know what to do. I'm in total defeat mode. So I just sit down, and I'm staring at my phone, and there's no screen on. It's just a black screen, but I'm staring because I don't know what to do. And he's standing there. And I'm standing right next to him, and I'm like, this is the most embarrassed I think I've ever been in my life. And we go a couple stops, and he, out of nowhere, comes and sits down. And he goes, all right, let's take one real quick. I just didn't want you to do that because when people see, me taking a picture with them, regardless of whether they know who I am or not, everyone starts running over and wants to take pictures. I'm not in the mood for that right now. And I go, and I'm sitting there fumbling my phone like, oh, right. Let's take the picture. So we take the picture, and he immediately gets off the train at the next stop. And I was like, man, did he redeem himself? Because he's about to go from one of the biggest celebrity, people I love to all the way at the bottom of the list. But that was probably one of the only times I ran into someone famous that I was like, I got to get a picture with him.
Was that in the Subway Creature days, or was that before that?
That was in the Subway Creature days, and I was so embarrassed. I never posted it. I still have the picture.
Does he follow you?
No, he had no idea. Those guys are so in their own world.
Right.
I don't even think they have social media. I didn't even check, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Yeah, my problem when I walk around the city is they all think I'm somebody else.
They think he's the White Rock.
Who do you get?
I get remember Viggo Mortensen?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I had hair,
I could see that.
Yeah, remember the History of Violence movie came out? Everybody after that movie came out.
That rape scene in there, or not a rape scene?
It was on the stairs too. Yeah, that's pretty hot.
Right.
Yeah,
see, that's why you guys have issues. There you go. That pinpoints it right there. That's the first sexy.
Yeah, remember he's got a weird ass too. He's got a little tail. Remember I'd rocked one of those too.
He does, in the weeds of it.
Yeah,
Jesus.
The other I get the Rock with somebody. I'm wearing the Rock. No, you're getting.
He gets the White Rock.
I get a kid at a camp said I looked like the Rock's grandfather. He said, I said, wait, what's in the grandfather business? Yeah.
So you're Samoan now.
I'm Samoan, yeah.
Samoan,
Canadian Samoan. Yeah. Small sector of Canada.
Ricky, do you get a lot of celebrities DMing you directly?
You know what? It happens every once in a while. I'm trying to think of who some of the best ones were. Oh, I posted one the other day. This is again childhood thing. Pee Wee Herman, R.I.P. He DM'd me because he was sending me content, and I was like, "What the hell is Pee Wee Herman?" And it's like his picture, it's his account, and everything. That was one of the ones I actually saved. But he DM'd me a picture of a guy dressed as the Christmas tree on the train. And he goes, hey, man, a friend of a friend sent this to me, but I love your account. And I want it to be on the account.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry if you don't post it. And I was like, again, a really weird person to be starstruck by. But I was like, oh, my God, Pee Wee Herman. I was like, we got to work together. Unfortunately, we never got a chance to. But he was down for it. It's just he was in LA and, it was one of those situations. Yeah. But, you do have every once in a while, not only celebrities DMing, but like if I post pictures, because there is a certain series I do where it's celebrities on the train and they'll tag them and they'll find themselves and they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe, who is it? Alec Baldwin's wife, tags me and stuff all the time. She's a big subway rider with her like 20 kids or whatever she has.
How about Keanu Reeves too? He's big on the subway. I see him a few times.
He is, and that's where these people get a lot of credit for just being everyday New Yorkers taking the train. To be honest with you, sometimes it can really be one of the most efficient ways of getting around.
Sure.
But there's so many videos of Keanu Reeves on the train being, the gentleman, giving up his seat for people, and just being a normal person. But those are the celebrities, that are really, you could feel like they're in touch with like the regular Joe.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, I don't have that problem. Nobody bothers me. Even when I played, it's funny. I would leave the building. I'd leave Madison Square Garden sometimes, and they'd say, "There's Tom Maloney."
Is that you?
Yeah, it was me.
I think Surly would just walk away from the fan.
I just, it actually ended up being a great thing for me because a lot of guys have a hard time once they retire from playing. That whole celebrity thing is gone. Well, mostly gone. For me, that was never an issue. When I left, nothing really changed that much. We just move on. So
just a regular Canadian knucklehead.
Would you ever living in New York or just always Connecticut?
No, well, I was always up in here. We practiced at Rye Playland up in Rye, obviously. Right. So that's, I looked, there was only like Ron Grester, Rod Duguay, and Barry Beck lived in the city. I was looking at a place actually back when I played, like my first year in NHL, I made $60,000. So to find a place to stay, I was up by like in 96th Street. I found a place, but then I had to get a place to park my car, and it took me over the budget, so I could afford to.
Yeah, Tom, he was like
a little different then.
Oh yeah,
and Tom missed out on the Studio 54 days. You were more like a country music guy.
Yeah, it's just stopping when I got here in 1980. Yeah, so that was the big deal.
Stay away from the ski slopes.
Yeah, and people always ask too. They say like, are you mad now because all these players? Like I probably would have been making like $5 million a year based on who I was as a player. I said I got divorced twice, so the first wife would have got half, but the second wife would have got half of the other half. So it's right where I'm at right now. So worked out well, smart. That was my investment plan, like getting married and getting divorced.
You're living in Greenwich right now. It doesn't sound like you're doing that bad, all right?
I know. I figured I'd move far away from Tom Smith, but he keeps finding me.
Yes, and he saves money on his air conditioning bill because he doesn't use it. So that's
So I do motivational speaking. What I try to teach people to do is get out of your comfort zone. So take things out of your life. Like we're going to do it with you. So we're going to pick something for a month that you don't like. You're going to survive, but you take it out of your life so you're a little bit less comfortable. So last summer I went without air conditioning all summer long. Hence I was single for the whole summer too.
That's a good one actually. That's and also pretty unbearable. I mean, I'm in Brooklyn right now, and granted, we've been through a heat wave the past week or so.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine living here without AC right now. We don't get the country breeze that you guys get up in Greenwich.
That is the difference. Yeah, I open the doors and windows, and there's shade all the time. So yeah, it's not that bad.
That is a good one.
So what's next for you then? The sports is the next one?
Sports, me and Tommy have been trying to work on that, and what the angle is, because the problem is what I have going on. Sports is all licensed, so you're going to run into a lot of issues where, the NBA, the NFL, they're going to give you a lot of trouble because of the licensing. So it's not like you just throw videos up of like highlights, like SportsCenter does. You're going to run into a lot of issues. So, we've been thinking about maybe taking like a behind the scenes of like the smaller sports, the
Sure.
what are, and it could be very subjective. It could be anything. There are people who play not professional, but like Quidditch. Like they're like league for this Harry Potter sport. Like it could be anything. There's a lot of recreational sports in New York,
sure.
and people take them pretty seriously. Yeah. So there could be angles for that.
What if you did like sports fans? So you went outside Madison Square Garden right before a game.
So that was actually part of what I was trying to do the night that I met up with Tommy. Was trying to get fan reactions, because you get these fans who are all jacked up going into the game, but then you get the drunk fans coming out, and that's when you get the gold. That's when you get.
Well, that's like the Bing Bong, the Nick guy, the Bing Bong guy.
That's how Bing Bong came Bing Bong. It was the Knicks Hawks series, and people were doing exactly that. They were just stationed outside of MSG, waiting to talk to the drunk, jacked up crowd, and next thing you know, Bing Bong is born, and it's sometimes you hit gold just like that. So the fan angle is definitely part of the sports.
The other one I'm thinking too, you should get a Metro North Railroad on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
so like see what the kids are like on the way there and what they're like come back. They're doing shots on the train and everything. Oh, that's
yeah. I get tons of videos for that, and we'll use them. It may not be the subway, but who cares?
Yeah. So just be clear that you get videos sent to you. People just want their video on your site. They think it's entertaining.
Yeah. So. Exactly. So, the one thing that I've prided myself on from the get-go is when people send videos, I credit them. So their name is in the caption. So it's an incentive for them to continue to send stuff in because all they want is the clout. They want the shout out in the caption. So, it's instances like that they keep coming back and they keep sending content. Not to mention a lot of the time it's either their friends or family that are in the videos. And they're just like, oh my God, look at this clown, look at what they did. Yeah. And you get a lot of stuff like that. But, more than anything, it's just, you don't have to like stage anything. You just go into the subway and you're bound to run into something.
Right. So is there anything that's been too nasty that you wouldn't post?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You know what? I'm going to send you some stuff once we're off air. There is, you wouldn't believe how many people have sex on the subway or in the stations. Oh. And then on top of it, and this is on a darker note, people send me, body parts and people just under trains and I don't know what I'm looking at until I'm actually seeing it. So again, enter that whole desensitization thing where it's like, you've seen the faces of death and it's just, it's awful. But again, you don't know that it's there until you're looking at it. And so there's a lot of things that, you can't get away with because of community guidelines on social media. But
so I was going to ask you, right? Okay. So
I keep a lot of that stuff on the side. And then what you can also do is, I've gone on podcasts before and I'm like, let's show the things that I can't show on social media, not saying this is the time or place, but, right. There's plenty of content where you'd be like, no, that can't be a thing. There's no way those people are having sex in front of a full train of people, and it happens.
Maybe we're not as crazy as we think we are, right? Maybe that's the good
thing.
No, you're still crazy, both of you. I know you both. You're both crazy.
Let's go back to that subject. Do you think it's like we're crazy or that the women are crazy? Or do we make them crazy?
That's an interesting angle, and I don't think we should blame ourselves for this. All of a sudden, we're having like an intervention with ourselves now. Yeah, but let's not blame ourselves. All right.
Good point by you, Rick. Good point by you. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm all positive all the time, and here I am picking on myself and you. That's ridiculous. It's Tom's fault. He tried to talk me into it.
Totally my fault.
Yeah.
It's not you.
I mean, listen, there is the self-realizations that we had that, hey, let's look at the common denominator. But let's put a little bit of it on them too,
Yeah, totally. So I met this woman one time, really nice woman, had her over for dinner here, and she starts telling me all these stories about her life. Like she didn't have any friends, so she went on Craigslist to find a friend. And then she was married, and she knew her husband was cheating, so she was a Hispanic woman, so she put a blonde wig on and went to Kennedy Airport to spy on him. She's telling me these stories, and I think, oh, she's a nice woman. And my son comes over the next day. Now, he knows the history of my dating life. And he says, what have you been up to? I said, that's this really nice woman. He looks at me, rolls his eyes, and says, okay, tell me the stories. So I start telling him these stories. And as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm realizing, I see the look in his face, and I realize, and I did it again.
Now, let me ask you, does the apple fall far from the tree?
No, thank God. No, both my sons, one's married, one's got a girlfriend, lives with, total gentlemen, great girls, solid relationships. Yeah, so.
He learned from his father's mistakes.
Yes, thank you.
They overcame genetics.
I sacrificed myself for my sons. That's what a great.
You're a hero.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There you go. Hey, these are the sacrifices we make, you know?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Look at all the stuff that you do. You're looking at all those dead bodies and everything like that to help other people to have fun.
Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean this very seriously. You're a great person. Seems like a lot of fun guy, but I'm really impressed, like the vision you have, like to figure it all out and then thinking down the road what else you're going to do. So very impressive. Good job by you.
Rick's awesome. He's a good friend.
No, I appreciate it. And honestly, I love that you guys had me on. This has been awesome.
Appreciate it. Great to have you out too. All right. So you and I are going to get together, go down to the city, hang out. We'll tell some old stories together.
We'll make it happen.
We're gonna get into trouble.
Yeah, but don't get.
I'll show you some places.
Oh, okay. Nice. I always like new places.
Rick, he's serious though. He's absolutely serious.
I just
Tommy, you can come, but you know,
if you need a chaperone, maybe. But otherwise, I'm out.
So, during July, I guess it's really quiet for me, not as many events and all that. So I was driving down the road the other day, and I'm driving along and you go, I want to make a bad decision. Like I actually said to myself, I want to make a bad decision. I haven't made a bad decision in a long time.
I know some places and I know some people.
The one thing I heard, like people say, like they should say, well, you learn from your mistakes. Well, the only thing I learned from my mistakes is just go harder next time. I never learned.
Double down.
The goalposts keep moving.
Yeah, so I survived. I'm 65 years old. I survived. And what's going to happen now? So, well, seriously, Rick.
Great. You're 65.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You're a smart man. I told you. Good judge of taste right there. Seriously, thank you very much. You're an intriguing man, very intelligent. I don't know why you're hanging around with Tom Smith, but we'll talk about him.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Thank you.
Ridney, thanks for coming, man.
So much. All right, guys.
Thanks, brother. All right. We continue the series, Tom, of our hockey adjacent or whatever we're calling it.
I like this.
Yeah, no, it's great. We got someone who's not a professional hockey player. We've had Rob Burnett. Now we had Rick McGuire of Subway Creatures and What is New York. And you spoke to your first influencer.
Yeah, I told you this too. Like you've got the same mind too. I hate to give you a compliment. That's always there.
That's okay.
But this creative mind where I look and I go like they're so successful. I go like, why, how did he think of that?
Yeah.
But he's pretty humble too, saying he didn't necessarily think of anything. He just started posting stuff.
A lot of great ideas come out that way. It's just, it just starts slow. And then he said they had that article in the Post, their feature on him, and it blew him up.
Funny guy.
And yeah, he's a great guy, good influencer. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him in New York now. So he's a big guy in New York.
He's got some places, he tells me.
Yeah, I don't. Well, bring a camera, take some footage, see what that, because that could be ugly.
We could do live.
Maybe you should do that. Have that edit button somewhere.
He's funny. I would love to hang out with him in the city because everybody knows who he is. He's got that personality.
I've known Rick for a long time. He's the coolest dude. Yeah, you'd have a blast. And it was a great show. And hopefully people can like and follow Subway Creatures. What is New York? What New York eats? And what New York wears? His influencing empire in New York City.
That's right. You and him are going to do a show down the road too.
You're working on it. We've been for a while. Yeah.
Cool. You just latch on to anybody, won't you?
Yeah, if that worked.
You're stuck with me.
My dreams of being hanging on the back of a 65-year-old stay-at-home defenseman who wore underwear on the national TV.
I never tell a story too where my sons, we had a viewing party at the local hotel. We had the lobby blocked off. It's on TV. My sons are there, probably about 50 people. My sons are getting text messages. All the buddies are watching the show. And all they ever wrote in was like, tell your dad to put a sock in the package there. It's not big enough.
How'd you not know that going in?
There's so many things you don't think about before you go on the show. Like you're
going to be in the water. There's going to be shrinkage.
But honest to God, though, at least I didn't. I was more thinking about like the physical part of it. I put on a little bit of weight. I just didn't think.
You were just more about how your biceps looked than you. Yeah, not about shrinkage. That was going to be in front of the whole world, right? And they put. I joked about this before you, but it's like they put you in like bloomy underwear. Oh, like, what's that about?
The premise of the show is obviously that you're shipwrecked, and really all you've got is clothes on your back.
You couldn't have worn like Under Armour or something like that, like something smarter. Like an athlete,
but they buy it for you. They don't. Yeah, they tell you what to buy, what to bring. Yeah, you send clothes to them, and they say, "No, not this." They send it back, and then
it was Canada's greatest and most favorite guest spot on Survivor. So the nation was behind you.
Oh, I actually watched the show. Sorry, how do I watch it the other day? I watched the replay. I haven't seen it in 2 or 3 years.
Were you like, I should have done this, I should have done that?
Well, I went in with the strategy that I was going to be this loyal guy. I wasn't going to be the scumbag. So I had a chance, and once all the 4 people I'd formed an alliance with now were over in the other tribe, I should have gone to the other people and said, okay, listen, I'll switch it. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
But that would have ruined my whole game. The whole loyalty thing would have gone.
But like you said, it's a game show.
Yes.
That's what it really is. It's a competition show.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I got from it too was that there's a lot of strategy, but the biggest strategy is try to find somebody else to vote off of than yourself. that's the strategy. And then you get to, there's more strategy at the end there. You get the last 3 or 4 people, but
find the weakest link, eliminate them. But speaking of, so yeah, when you and Rick have your adventure in New York, yes, let's hear about it. Maybe you'll be up on Subway Creatures doing something cool in the subway.
We're probably making a mistake.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, like we said at the show, I was driving around the other day as McGuire for the last couple of months, and I said, I'm gonna make a bad decision. Like I have not made a bad decision in a long time.
You sure about that? Really?
What are you talking about?
We can review, but we'll keep that off the air.
Good stories.
Yeah.
Stories.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, Grasshoppers. Thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.